Wednesday, and that means it's WealthyU Wind Down. So come on in. We're going to get started. I'm going to let folks get in here because we got a lot to talk about. A lot of exciting things happening in WealthyU. We are growing. Welcome to our new Legacy Wealth Accelerator members. We're growing in all areas. And what I'm excited about is, if you will all remember when this year started, I said to you, I just feel like there's a different energy. Do you guys remember me saying that? Who remember in the chat? How many of you remember me saying that, in spite of the fact that I had COVID during New Year's Eve, right? I was like, nah, I'm not receiving that. This year, it's going to be our greatest year of growth. and I hope that you all are feeling that way too. So good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm Deborah Owens. I'm founder and CEO of WealthyU, where we teach Black women how to build their investment portfolios to 7 figures and beyond. And like I told someone, we bring the receipts. And if you saw our Get Wealthy segment, our episode this week, you see that we brought it. I'll talk about that a little later. So in the chat, as you are coming in, let me know who's in the room with me. Let me know how you found out about WealthyU, and also let me know where you're from. So let's see, ladies, come on in. Let me give you just a few minutes. Let me see who's hanging out with us this evening. If you're watching us on YouTube, please put where you are in the comments. I'll make sure to give you out a shout out. If you're on Facebook as well, on my Facebook page, yes. So Karen, I see you up front. Got your coffee, you're ready. Or maybe it's your adult beverage and you're hanging it in the little coffee cup. I don't know, but it's all good. Come on in, y'all. Tell me who's here with me. You know, I'm looking at you behind a screen, so I don't know who's here. Okay, Joyce Valentine. Okay, from St. Louis, Missouri. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's get this party started. I see there are more of you coming in. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Let me give some shout outs. Now, I'll tell you why I am really, really excited is the fact that our Legacy Wealth Retreat is coming up on this Saturday. I'm going to share a little bit more details about what that day is going to look like. It's exciting. We're always going to have fun. So let's see. So Alice and who else? Alice and Joyce, you're both in St. Louis. You guys got to connect. So you can connect in the little chat even. Let's make sure you guys connect. We'll have our little WealthyU squads around the country. I like the sound of that. My good friend Jean Escarpeta from Delaware. Carolyn Franklin. So you and Jean are in Delaware. So you guys will have to connect. Let's see. We've got Darlene in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Latanya McKellery in Maryland. Melissa in Lorton, Virginia. Lisa from North Carolina. I love it. I love it. I love it. We have WealthyU Gold Sisters all over the country, all over the world before it's all over. So good evening, everyone. Good evening. Let me see. Let me give some more shout outs. Nicole from Georgia. Let me see if I can look on my phone and get some of you folks on Facebook. And by the way, if you're on another platform and you haven't joined our WealthyU community, I want to make sure that you do. Okay, let me turn that down. But let's see who's hanging with me. So Alicia Owens, Hudson, Stephanie Reese, Rosie, Aseline Parker. Excellent. Stephanie Reese from Alabama. That's where all my people from too. Rosie, would love to know more about your business. So Rosie, this is the place where you come. If you want to learn how to build wealth, if you want to become a part of a 7-figure sisterhood, this is where we teach women how to build their investment portfolios to 7 figures and beyond. Every week we come to WealthyU Wind Down and we talk about current events, what's going on in the markets, and man, something exciting happened today that I really want to talk about. And what I'm so intrigued about what's going on with these different companies, they're kind of following suit. And we're always talking about innovation and how companies transition and innovate. And certainly one of the things that I want to double click on tonight is just that. So y'all gonna learn tonight. Who's ready to learn? Who's ready to learn about building wealth? You ready? All right, so get ready, get ready, get ready. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to WealthyU Wind Down Wednesdays. We meet here every Wednesday. And we call it wind down because one of the things I like to do is kind of take the edge off of money. You know, it can be so emotional. And so I always lead off, and you're welcome to join me on Wednesday evenings. Get your favorite adult beverage. Your vino is my adult beverage of choice. I'm really excited, you guys, because tonight not only am I drinking a Cabernet Sauvignon, but hubby really brought out the good stuff. So this is a Napa, and if you like a Cabernet Sauvignon, this is one of my favorite winemakers based in Napa Valley. And in fact, I was just sharing this with someone. So last year we all went out. We were going to the Napa Jazz Festival. Well, honey, when COVID hit, I was like, I'm not going to be around any people, any closed door places, right? So we had rented a house. My son and my daughter and my nephew were going to be with us. My son ended up having to be out of the country, so he didn't get to come. But at any rate, so we're in this nice house. And so then, you know, you had to make reservations to get into these wineries, you know, to do a tasting. And so, you know, we were able to get some, but one that I really wanted to go to was Hall. And you'll see Hall, if you're ever in Napa Valley. We were actually staying, and I used to live in Northern California, and I didn't realize how close I was to Napa until we kind of like passed our other house. But I digress. So anyway, we were staying in St. Helene. And St. Helene is where a lot of the wineries are. I mean, we literally were 15 or 20 minutes from some of my favorites. And that was good because you know what? You don't want to drink and drive. So that was a plus too. So anyhow, you know, when you're going down the main road, you'll look up and you'll see, and it's this big metal sculpture, and it's a rabbit. And you know, you're trying to figure out what is the significance of this rabbit. Well, guess what? That was B Hall. And when you went into this winery, I mean, you felt like you were, I don't know, it was just so gorgeous. It was so modern. And what I said to my husband, because we kept driving by, but we couldn't get any reservations. And, you know, my husband is one of these people who's like, because he was a journalist, he doesn't take directions well. He just feel like he needs to be wherever the thing is happening, that's where he needs to be. So anyway, he goes into the parking lot, drives up. And I was like, what are you doing? He gets out the car, walks in, and waves us in. It's my daughter and my nephew, who, by the way, doesn't drink. But anyhow, so they're like, oh, yes, we have these seats, this seat right here. And so we get to go in there. We have a lovely, lovely time, and we get to go upstairs and kind of view the thing. And I say all that to say, that's what I'm drinking tonight, B Hall. So let's give a toast to B Hall Cabernet Sauvignon. And now that I've got all that chatting out, so here's what I wanted. So how many of you saw this week's episode of Get Wealthy? In the chat, let me know. Did you watch the episode of Get Wealthy? Belinda's story, from emotional spending to the top 10% of African American wealth. Listen, if you did not watch that episode, it is a Master's 500 class on what you need to do to really move beyond whatever your challenges and obstacles are to that next level. So how many in the chat? Let me know. If you saw Get Wealthy, let me know if you saw. So Virginia says, yes, amazing. Fatima says, yes, saw it. Latoya says, yes, saw it. If you didn't see it in the chat, if you would, Deprina, if you would put the link in there so people can go right to it. You can go right to this week's episode. And by the way, Get Wealthy is our new program, WealthyU's new program, not my program. WealthyU's new program, because every week you are going to see women who were sitting in WealthyU Wind Down, one of my seminars, a book signing, something of that sort. Join WealthyU, and now you're going to see the amazing transformations that have transpired. And you're going to hear them in their own words. So, with further ado, let me let you see her. I thought I had her, queued up in her own words.
On the next Get Wealthy, the inspiring story of Belinda Edwards.
I am an emotional spender. I didn't want to live to just pay my credit card bills.
A change in her mindset and beliefs around money propelled her into the top 10% of African American wealth.
With your help, I've been able to improve my returns on investment and able to share your knowledge and expertise with others.
Watch Get Wealthy right here, only on Black Star Network.
That's right, ladies. So here's what I want you to know. And this is what I shared with in our last session with the community. In fact, we had strategic advisory last week, and one of the things I said to all of you, is that these interviews are giving me so much insight personally, right? So here's what I want you to know. When I interview those ladies, I do not know what they're going to say. I mean, if you follow Get Wealthy, you'll see I'll ask them about their mindset, strategy, execution, right? Because that's really the framework for WealthyU, just in terms of helping you. We have some unique challenges. Let's face it. I built WealthyU specifically to address the unique challenges that Black women have, specifically around their finances. Why is it that our wealth gap is so large compared to everybody else? Well, basically, it's because we've been following the wrong roadmap, and we have put everyone else first, and we're the givers, and we've been giving from a half empty cup, and I'm telling you no more. We are going to give from a full cup, a cup that is overflowing, and that's why this is so important. So I just want to get back to Get Wealthy. Listen, I want you all to look at those Get Wealthy episodes not as an observer. I want you to get this, not as an observer, but I want you to look at not what they say, but what they do. Okay? And Belinda she broke it down to every step that she took in order to, she learned how to analyze and research mutual funds. She didn't just learn how to do it, then she challenged her financial advisors on, how they were investing her money. And then she moved her money elsewhere and she started investing on her own. I want you guys to get this. Look at all of these Get Wealthy segments. There are now 5 of them. No, this was the 6th episode. And I want you to go back and look at every one of those stories, but I want you to take one thing that they did that you can apply to your own situation. Now, one of the things I share in WealthyU is that we all have our unique investment opportunity levers. And those investment opportunity levers are based on our own individual situations. Some of you might have stock options. Some of you might have employer stock option programs. You heard a lot about that. If you look at some of those stories, if you look at Dr. Sharon Dean's, she had stock options. So she was able to leverage that opportunity. Some of you have 401ks. Some of you are self-employed and are dual, like employees and self-employed. And what you can do is you have some unique advantages too. You can do S&P IRAs, you can do 401k IRAs, and you're going to hear more about that because we've got some really fantastic Get Wealthy segment episodes coming next. And they're all different women. There are women managing multi-million-dollar corporations. There are women who have franchises. There are women who are doing several different things. But what I want you to understand is that it's not about you trying to mimic them, right? It's about you identifying what process they used and how you can apply it to your situation to get results. Ladies, here's what I want you to tell you. The most important thing that I have learned from interviewing these women is this. And I want you to write this down. Is that the women who get the furthest, the fastest, what do you think they have in common? What do they do that most people don't? In the comments, I want to hear from you in the comments. If you're watching me on Facebook, I want to hear from you. If you're watching me on YouTube, I want to hear from you. What do you think? Fatima. Yes, that just struck me. You can't just watch, you have to do. That's right, it's execution. Listen, and I that relates to my own situation. You know, I had for years been getting, been a part of business organizations, networking organizations about growing my business. And, you know, I've been in coaching. I'm in coaching right now. And here's what, when you see people take off, the only difference is they don't watch, they do. Are y'all with me? So here's, I want to go to the chat. So that's right. The women, Melissa, the women who get further the fastest must execute. Step out on faith. Take action. They have to take the time to learn and then execute. Thank you, Cassandra. Thank you. Because here's the other thing. And this is very, very important. And it will help you significantly. And it's the way you mitigate risk or minimize risk or de-risk, right? Because all of us, like right now, you know, all around the market's been going down. It's been so volatile. We've had this war going on. We've had inflation going up. We've had COVID. I mean, there are so many reasons to paralyze you, for you not to do anything out of fear of what could happen, or fear of loss, or fear if you make a decision of making the wrong decision. But the way you de-risk is you learn, right? You gain more knowledge. And when you gain more knowledge, but here's the other thing, ladies, you have to act. Okay? You never lose. You either win or you learn. And that's the secret. The secret is action, taking action, because listen, everything is a test, right? Everything is a test. Like right now, let's think about it. You know, what are the companies that are going to do well in this current environment? Well, we've got gas prices going up. So are people going to be more energy conscious? Yes, they are. What does that mean? That means hybrid cars are going to sell. That means solar panels are going to sell. You know, I was just driving from Delaware and I looked over and it was like a field of solar panels. So what's that about? That's because they're delivering energy through clean solar. So what are the things? So here's all I want you to know. Polarity. For everything that there is a negative, there is a positive. There is a seed of an equivalent benefit in every adversity. And that's what you will see when you watch those interviews. But again, I don't want you to just watch them. All right? I don't want you to just watch them. I want you to come away with one thing. One thing, and you're going to know what that one thing is. You're going to discern what that one thing is by thinking through, okay, here's what she did. Here are the things that she did. What is the one thing that I can do based on my situation that could have a similar impact, right? So you just don't want to do things. You want to do the thing that is going to have the greatest impact. Tell me in the chat, is this making sense to you? That's right. For Valerie, that's right. For every negative, there is a positive. And that's what having a wealth mindset or growth mindset, that is the shift, right? So going back to my point, someone asked me, I want to know more about your business. The whole focus of this business is mindset, strategy, execution. Helping you to shift your mindset and your belief system around risk, right? And what it means to really invest your dollars so that they can pay a higher return. And that's exactly what my topic is about tonight, right? But before I go there, one of the other things I want to talk about is this Saturday, we have our next Legacy Wealth Masterclass, our next Legacy Wealth Retreat. It is from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The doors open at 9. And the whole point of the masterclass really is to get you to, the topic is to level up, right? And so I want you to think about this, ladies, is that it's not some big amazing thing that's going to happen to you that's going to change your life, right? Particularly when it comes to finances. If you'll look at every one of those Get Wealthy segments, you'll know that it didn't take as long as they thought. I mean, some were able to literally change their financial trajectory, and take Sharon Dean, 18 months, 2 years, right? To get to that 7 figures, you got to stay the course. And there is going to be some fear, and there's going to be some difficult time, right? That, Terry, yes, that is Eastern time. That is Eastern time. All right. So for those of you on the West Coast, you may have to get up early, but trust me, you're going to be blessed. And the fact is, I forgot about this, but daylight saving time is coming on the next day, that night. So at least you won't lose an hour. But here's what I digress. I don't want to lose my train of thought here. But here's what I want you to know about Saturday. Saturday is really designed specifically to address this issue when it comes to Black women and their ability to achieve the level of financial success you desire, that you deserve. Here's what I know to be true. And the reason that we do these master classes, these retreats every quarter, is because we want to double down on something specifically. And here's what I know to be true is many of you are not earning what you are worth. You're simply not, right? Agree or disagree? Many of you could be earning more. Many of you could be earning much more, okay? However, you don't know what you don't know, right? Like you some of you, how many of you can relate to this? How many of you have been stuck at a certain income level, stuck in a certain role or position, simply because, you know, some of you, maybe you're complacent. You maybe said, oh, I'm making good money. Yeah, but at the same time you're making good money, everything else is doing what? Increasing. So if you're not growing, you're losing money. This is the point that I want to make. ladies, it's time for you to level up. And if you're going to level up, there's some things that you need to do. But listen, you are not going to get there on your own strength. You cannot grow with the same level of thinking that took you to where you are right now. You got to go to the next level. And so to that end, I'm bringing in some amazing women to give you some insights, some strategies, and techniques to do just that. So first up is Sherry Sims of the Black Career Women's Network. And she's going to be sharing why you have to lead in order to level up when it comes to your career. Next up is Jandy Turner, Bad Sisters, CEO of Acuity Events, does events all over the world, and also is a golfer and the author of Sports, Golf, the Business of Sports. I'm probably saying it, but she's going to be sharing with you. Listen, how many of you know that, you need to expand your circle, right? You need to be in the room with some other people. She's going to be sharing with you why you don't have to be afraid and exactly what you need to do to get in the game. And then, ladies, LinkedIn is just a powerful tool. And we use it a lot in WealthyU. You see me going live a lot, and that's because that algorithm is powerful. And you can use that tool to attract the kind of opportunities that you want, but have to know how to do that. And so to that end, we'll be bringing in Adrienne Simpson, and she's going to show you how to level up on LinkedIn. And then our amazing WealthyU Gold sister, Tamika Smith. She's an award-winning journalist. She is anchor on All Things Considered on NPR Weekend at WAMU. She's got a phenomenal process that she's going to show you how to really present yourself and profile. And so here's what I want you to know. And then we have one of our own gold models, Michelle Smith, is going to be talking about how to leverage your own skill set in order to create additional income, how to level up your income. So all of that all day with our fabulous DJ. We're going to be having fun. You're going to have a workbook because, again, listen, I am not about entertaining you. Yes, we're going to have some fun, but we measure our own performance on the results that we give you. And so, if I were to think about so many women who are in our WealthyU coaching programs right now, they came to a master class and it changed their trajectory. And so that's why I know the importance of this. And so again, you still have time to set up, to sign up. If you know a sister friend that needs to be here, this isn't about making money. Just understand that, it's not a very expensive event. We want to invest in you, bless you, be able to give you additional insight. I know I've had so much help, but some of you are trying to do this on your own. Nobody achieves anything of any significance on their own. And so that's why we're a community, WealthyU. And so I want to invite you. I want to invite all of you. You can go to wealthyumasterclass.com. You can go to Linktree. Daprina, if you could put that in the comment section. So if folks, you still got time to sign up. I know CP time is real. And listen, yeah, it's going all day, but you're going to have the recordings for 90 days. So if you have other obligations, it's okay, right? You will be able to come back and look at it at your leisure and really be able to get the insight and figure out how you're going to do exactly what I said today. And that is come away from one of those, from this event. And here's, let me just share this with you. One of the things that I do, I haven't been doing it because I haven't been going to a lot of events lately, but when I do virtual events, I literally go through who is going to be at that event. And then I figure out, okay, what are the things strategically that I need to know from these people? And I've already got my questions prepared for what I'm going to ask these people in Q&A. And by the way, there will be Q&A with every one of our speakers. You know, I've got to apply. We just had one of our, someone just joined one of our programs. And I mean, she is not playing. She has already reached out to our master instructor. She's getting it on. So here is what I want you to know. You need to already be positioned to prosper. So you want to go to that WealthyUMasterclass.com and you want to look through each of those speakers and you want to say, what do I want to learn from her? What question do I want to ask her? So that when you show up, you're already ready. Are y'all with me? That's it. Well, Danita, you stole my fire because that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Is if you didn't know, Amazon just announced that they are going to do a 20-for-1 split. So how many of you know what a stock split is? How many of you know what a stock split is? In the chat, if you know what a stock split is, give me the definition in the chat. And by the way, the other thing I want you to think about is the fact that Google announced their 20-for-1 split just last month. So what is going on? Why are all these companies doing stock splits? The other thing that Amazon announced is that they're going to buy back 10 billion, if I'm not mistaken, of their stock. And so I want to give you guys a little, what do I want to call, primer on stock splits. Okay. So, yes, that's a good question. All right. So does anybody know what a stock split is? Okay. So let's just talk about it. So I'm going to use round numbers and I'm going to start with just a fictitious company. Okay. So the Acme company, they went public in 2010. And 10 years later, their stock is now at $100 a share. And so they decide, well, we came out at $10 and it seems like more people were able to buy more shares at $10. And so what we're going to do is a 10-for-1 stock split so that now for every 100 shares that people have, for every share that people have, they're going to have 10 shares, right? So basically what it does is if I bought 10 shares and I bought 100 shares, right? And so I've spent $1,000. Now, 10 years later, those shares are worth $10,000. And so, but they're $100 a share, right? So I can't buy that same 100 that I bought for $10 for $1,000. I got to spend $10,000. Are y'all following me? Listen to the numbers. I'm using round numbers to make it easy. And then I'll relate it to Google and Amazon while they're splitting. So basically, I don't really, so for example, before you were able to buy fractional shares, it used to be that a round lot, or that typically somebody would buy 100 shares of a stock, right? So 100 shares times 10 is $1,000, right? But now, check this out. In the chat, tell me, how many of you know what did Amazon close at today? What stock price did Amazon close at today? Come on, y'all. I got to get y'all in the game. Y'all need to have your screensavers needs to be on CNBC or some other, or YahooFinance.com. Come on, y'all, in the chat. Y'all not going to make me work all night. Y'all going to learn tonight, okay? So what price, in the chat, ladies, tell me, did Amazon close at per share tonight? Or, that's right, $27.85. That's exactly right. That was the closing share price at 4 o'clock p.m. Okay, so to buy one share of Amazon is going to cost you $2,700. So, I mean, literally, you could only have 4 shares of Amazon and you'd have to invest $10,000. So when prices get up that high, one of the things that companies want to do is they want to do a stock split to make the price come down to something more reasonable, right? And so in this case, if we do a 20-for-1 stock split, how much will one share of Amazon cost after they split 20-for-1? So all you have to do to figure that out is divide 20 into, that's right, $139, right? So now, if you were to buy 100 shares, right, it would be, you'd only have to spend, what is that? $1,395, right? So really, one of the reasons that companies do splits is because it brings the share price down. But guess what it also does? Here's what I want you to understand. It also increases the number of shares outstanding. Okay? And so for those of you who are in WealthyU and you attend the Analyze and Research Stocks, you know that earnings, right, are based on that. There are 2 ways we look at a company's growth or their ability to sell. One is their gross sales or revenues. But if you're public, what we do is we divide the number of shares outstanding, okay, and then we come up with an earnings per share. And so as a shareholder, how you are going to really evaluate a company's earnings is on their earnings per share, because that kind of levels the playing field, if you will. Okay? So, yeah, they will gain more, they'll gain more shareholders if more people split, but they won't gain more shareholders. It's just that their existing shareholders, right, will have more shares. Now, the beauty of that, though, I mean, in a stock split is that, okay, you're telling me if I got 100 shares, I'm now going to have 2,000? I'm just using round numbers here, right? Or what is it? If I've got 100 shares, I'm now going to have 1,300 shares, right? I mean, or almost 1,400 shares. So the thing is, though, now every dollar it goes up in price, you got 1,300 shares, right, as opposed to 100. And so, I mean, hypothetically, it should mean, and I just want to go back to the point that I made last week. How many of you remember last week? How many of you were here last week in the chat? Let me know if you were on WealthyU Wind Down last week. And if you weren't, you can go back in WealthyU Society or WealthyU Community, and all the WealthyU Wind Downs are there. But the point that I was making last week is that we welcome volatility. You guys remember this? Because we're not focused at the price right now. We're focused on the number of shares. And the way you win the game is the number of shares. Okay? You guys remember that? And so think about it. As a matter of fact, this is what's really spooky, you guys. Now, I had no idea that Amazon was going to announce a split. But last night, I was doing a training for another friend of mine, Gwen Jameer, Naturalicious. And one of the stocks that I picked out that I was going to talk about, I didn't end up really talking about it. What was it? It was Amazon. Okay, and I wanted to use Amazon as an example. I don't know. Let me see if I can move this chart just a little bit, because I'm gonna do some teaching. I like to teach, but I don't want to get too technical with you guys. Let me see. Just want to see if I can bring this up a little bit. Yeah, so forgive me, you're going to see me in the background for just a minute, you guys, but I want to show you guys something. So basically, this is a chart that shows Amazon's stock price and how it has risen, okay? And basically what it's showing you is that in 2017, I just want to ask, is this backwards for you guys, or can you actually see this chart the right way? Deprina in the chat, let me know that. Okay, so you can see it. Okay, perfect. All right, so basically this is showing you that in 2017, the price of Amazon was below 1,000, right? So actually it was about, I think it was, does it say here? No, it really doesn't say here. But this is just a chart showing Amazon stock price. And you can see if you had bought that in 2017, you would have tripled your money in 5 years, right? And so the point that I wanted to make about, and it shows where the stock price was on the day that I did this, it was at like 27. So this was yesterday. This was yesterday's range, right? And so what I want you to see, though, is I wanted you to see the share price, right? And how it rose over 5 years. And when you talk about how you're going to make, what investment could you have made that would be 4 times the amount, right? Or am I saying that right? 700 goes into 2,800. So we're talking about 4 times, right? 4 times your money in 5 years. What? Come on now. Nothing. And so here's what I want you to all understand is that's why investing is so important for you to be in the game. And not be on the sideline. Because this is why our wealth gap is so wide. It's because 65% of households headed by African American women own no individual stocks. Okay? And so what we need, and listen, how many of you, like I was just on Amazon, when people join our investment, one of our groups, they immediately get 2 books from Amazon. And you know what? Amazon gets it to them in a day, right? I can't compete with that. So does it make sense for me to try to go out and buy a bunch of books and then when we get new people in to send it to them? No. Why do I want to do that? I want to just put their little name in Amazon and let Amazon do it. But Amazon's making a whole lot of money. Amazon, but here's what I want you to understand too is I'm going to give you guys some homework. Because I want you to go pull Amazon's annual report. And actually, it should already be out for 2021. And I want you to pull Amazon's annual report. And I want you to look at where their sales channels are, where they're getting their revenue from. They're not making most of their money out of selling goods and services. Well, let me put it this way. They are making money by being by their Amazon Web Services. Most of their earnings are coming from their web services, right? All those data storage things that they have all over the world. Do you know their Netflix, one of their competitors, you got Amazon Prime and you got Netflix, right? Well, Amazon is the one making sure that Netflix is able to deliver all of those programs to you. When you click on that little button and you get all mad, I don't know about you, but sometimes I'll click on Amazon. This has never happened to you guys. And it doesn't work, or, they say, oh, this title isn't available right now or something like that. I'm like, Amazon, what's going on? Y'all messing with my leisure time, right? So here's the point I want to make, ladies. Is that's why you want to invest, right? So we've had 2 major technology companies do. And isn't it interesting? They both did a 20-for-1 split. Now, I've seen 10-for-1. I've seen 2-for-1. But here's why. Why do you think they had to do a 20-for-1 split? In the chat. Why do you think that both Google and Amazon did a 20-for-1 split? What precipitated them doing a 20-for-1? You know why? If I went back to that chart. Not affordable. No, because the stock price in the past 10 years. Look at what's happened in the past 5 years. Since 2015, the market has went from 17,000 to the Dow from 17,000 to 33,000. NASDAQ is in the, I was just looking at what there. So the market has doubled, more than doubled. I just showed you that their share price is 4 times what it was. Well, there's the example right there. Their share price was $500 a share in 2000. And what was that? Was that 15? No, 2017, right? Now it's at 2,700. So that's how they had to do it, why they had to do a 20-for-1 split. I'm sure they were probably trying to get down to the hundreds, right? So they did a 20-for-1 split to get about 141. And okay. Is this making sense to you guys? Valerie said it's too high. It's too high. That's right. I'm thinking of the man with the rent who say rent too damn high. Yeah, the stock price too damn high. That's right. So how can we as WealthyU members benefit from what Amazon is going to do? Do we buy Amazon when the split? It depends. Now, typically, the reason why I always say it depends is because I don't know the future, right? And I don't really think in terms of short term because that's how you have a wealth mindset. But here's what I'll say. If you buy the stock before the split, yes, you are going to, as long as it's before X dividend date or X stock split date, you're going to buy the price at the higher price. And then once it splits, then you're going to get that split price. Now, typically, people, analysts will say, or people will say, or investors will say that the fact that Amazon's going to split at 20-for-1 is going to drive demand because it makes it more attractive because people feel like I'm going to get 20-for-1. Right? It states that the future growth will be 22%. Historical annual earnings growth was 46.3%. That's right. So Amazon is growing like a rocket. But the reason Amazon is growing is because they have diversified and innovated into so many different areas. They are not just a bookseller anymore. In fact, one of the things that their founder said was the whole Amazon didn't make a profit for a decade, right? But that was not their intention. Their intention was to become the biggest player in e-commerce, and that's exactly what they did. Right. And so now they've got, all of these, they've been a retail killer. Why do you think retail stores are out of business? Why do you think your major retailers like Lord & Taylor, Sears? I was just reading that Kohl's is trying to reinvent itself. They're not calling themselves a department store. They now, interestingly enough, you can go to a Kohl's and you can pick up your Amazon packages there, right? So they've all these companies are trying to evolve. But back to the original question, should you buy before or after the split? All I'm gonna say is that you think Amazon is a good investment in the long term, then you need to invest in it before or after the split. After the split, you're going to be able to buy more at a lower price. Before the split, you're going to buy the higher price, but you're going to get the 20-for-1. But don't make your decisions based on a short-term event because you're not investing in it to make a couple of dollars. You're investing in it to make a few thousands or a few tens of thousands. Is this making sense to you, ladies? Yes. Latanya says, a good long-term stock. Karen says, yes, online shopping has taken over. But I want to tell you something else. One of the many reasons Amazon, I'm sure if we look at its earnings this year, is a killer is because of COVID. Right? How many of you use Amazon? In the chat, let me know. How many of you purchase things from Amazon more than you ever have before because of COVID? In the chat. Right? So here is what I want you all to be thinking about, right? Based on the situation that we're in. You know, I think let's just look at geopolitics, and I'm not going to get too wonky on you guys, even though I like talking about it. But you look at oil and you look at fossil fuels, okay? And you look at politics, and you look at the geopolitical impact of Russia and on Saudi Arabia. You know, the vast amount of oil supplies that they have, and their ability to have power and influence because of that, right? And we're seeing that today. We're seeing, have you guys pulled up to the gas pump? That's all I'm going to say, right? Now, interestingly enough, oil prices had their largest decline in one day today. And so what I think we all need to be thinking about is there are two things converging, right? We've got climate change. Okay, now climate change is changing the game. You see all these fires in California and all these different places, and what's impacting that? Well, it is our fossil fuels. And so if I were a betting person, I would say that anything around environmental energy conservation and environmental concerns are something that you'd want to look at in the long term for investors and where things are going. Okay, so here's what I want you to understand. If we look at Amazon and we look at a Google, the reason, and you know what, I was just thinking, because this really plays back into something that I said earlier. And that, you know, yeah, this is wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to tie this back to several different WealthyU wind downs, okay, because I want you guys to see this thing. Okay, so who remembers when I said, I repeated what I had heard, and it was that wealth was created through concentration, right? And wealth is preserved through diversification. How many of you remember that? Okay, because I want to tie this all together. Okay, you remember that? Okay, so I want you to think about this. What did Amazon concentrate on that has put them in the position that they are today? First, they became the 800-pound gorilla in what? You guys know? Can I repeat it? Wealth is created through concentration, right? And it is preserved through diversification. Okay? Now, I want you to think about the two largest companies who just did these 20-for-1 stock splits. What was Amazon? What was Amazon's what did Amazon concentrate on to become a behemoth in the industry they're in? E-commerce. Books. That's right. It started with books, but e-commerce, right? That allowed them. And so what happened was that through dominating e-commerce and getting really, really good at that one thing, that's when their technological capability became so great. And then they were able to take the infrastructure of how they delivered those goods and services, and everybody else copied it. You know, whether it's Shopify, whether it's any major retailer, whether it's Target, everybody had to copy Amazon because of the technological expertise and capability that they created. The value they created was not making money on the products themselves. It was the delivery of it. Are y'all with me? Okay? It was the delivery of it. So again, and this is what's so crazy, because it's exactly what I just told you. When you're looking at Get Wealthy, do not listen to what they say. Look at the process, right, that they use to create that outcome. How did I go from being an emotional spender to investing? You know, what were the steps? Look at the steps, ladies. The steps are the process. And if you duplicate it, it can happen over and over again. Right? Okay. So now I'm going a little over. Google. What does Google still dominate? One thing. And one thing, and that's all that they do. And that one thing, they dominate it. What is it, y'all? Search. It's the search engine. And if you look at Google, Google ain't got all cute. It still got that same white little landing page and that little bar in the middle. And when you do anything, what do? You Google it. But how did Google monetize it? You see, a lot of, and quite frankly, Microsoft, what was that? Or Expedia, there were search engines that were there before Google. But what Google got really smart at, again, focused on that one thing, didn't do like other companies. Do you guys remember when you would go on a landing page on a website and you would get all these pop-ups and all of these different ads and stuff like that? Google has never run ads, ever. Okay? But they flipped the script, because what they did was they took those keywords and they sold those to people. And so, yeah, if you put it in the search, and then when the search comes up, you'll end up with whoever paid the most money for that keyword, right? That's how they make money. That's right, Zerlene. Wealth is created through concentration and preserved through diversification. They created the blueprint of the process. Let's give Dr. Z a hand, because y'all better screenshot that note she just took, because honey, there is gold in what she just said. So I want you guys to get this. So finally, I gotta land this plane. So what was your takeaway from this evening in the chat? What's your takeaway? And what are you going to apply? That's what I want to know, based on our what you learned tonight. What did you learn tonight? And now how are you going to use that to make something happen? That's what I want you to do. I don't want you to just observe. I want you to act. Here's what I know. is that the women that get the furthest, the fastest, they don't observe, they act. And that's exactly what I want you to do. So if you like what you heard tonight, if you have loved coming to WealthyU Wind Down and learning, you're going to love the Legacy Wealth Retreat. We've got a full day planned for you, and we want to make sure you show up. So take advantage of these insider codes. You don't have to, we're investing in you. You don't have to worry. If you can't make it, spend the money so you can have the recording. I tell you, the most exciting thing about the retreats is it's not only the speakers, it's just being in the room with other people who are like-minded and they want to succeed. And when you see them succeeding, and by the way, we're going to have our WealthyU Gold Models, we're going to do a panel, and they're going to share with you how they were sitting in the same seat you were. They were coming to the little challenges and master classes, and you're going to hear from them, because I love bringing the ambassadors and the member success advisors on, because I want you to get to know the women who pour in and want to see you experience the same kind of transformation and accelerated financial growth that they have. So listen, again, put that link tree in the chat, put the WealthyU Masterclass in the chat. Come on out and join us. I'm really going to be sharing with you just some insight around what I do. I'm going to spend a lot of time on mindset and in charities Get Wealthy segment. She did something that is so critical for you to be able to overcome adversity. And that's going to be one of our first exercises. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but just let me tell you, it's going to be good. So be there. Thank you so much for joining me here on WealthyU Wind Down Wednesday. I hope to see you on Saturday from 10 to 4. If you can't make it, hey, sign up so you can get the recordings. It's going to be a full day of leveling up. That's going to do it for me this evening. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for WealthyU Wind Down, and have a prosperous evening. And I will see all of you on Saturday.